What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. So, the other day, I did a video on the Pelican Bay hunger strikes, right? And it's because of the documentary that PBS put out. And for those of you that keep asking me, where is it? How can I find it? And in certain countries, it's not, you can't find it. It's on YouTube. It's just go on YouTube, come here after you're done watching this video, type in Pelican Bay hunger strikes, and you'll see it pop up, and it has a PBS logo and everything. Click on that. It's a really good documentary. However, and it's not PBS's fault. It's not the fault of the producers, and it's not the fault of the ex-convicts that are being interviewed. They were answering questions that were being asked, right? But there was a lot of history that led up to that has been, I don't want to say omitted because that would kind of seem like it was intentional. But there's stuff that wasn't mentioned. And I slightly touched on it. And in this video, I want to touch on it some more. And there's a reason why. So in the video that I put out, my reaction, I spoke about a certain jailhouse lawyer. Very, very intelligent, very, very good jailhouse lawyer who was taking on the California Department of Corrections, who was fighting the gang validation process, who was fighting the indeterminate shoe, who was fighting every damn thing he could to have a better way of living behind those walls. And I talked about how I believe it was, I don't remember vividly, but I'm almost positive it was 2000. It was after the riot and before I left. I left in 2001. In 2000, when we had the very first hunger strike in Pelican Bay, the one that nobody talks about. But this jailhouse lawyer orchestrated that, got people on the streets involved, got the media involved, got people to protest in front of the prison. This one individual did that, right? And as a result, he was politicked on. He got hit. Almost lost his life. And one of the things, I don't know if you guys caught this, but I wanna say it again. His cellie, he got a cellie and his cellie moved on him. His cellie stabbed him up while he was taking a bird bath. After he worked out, if I remember the story correct, after he finished busting down, he was bird bathing. His cellie jumped up, whacked him. And his cellie, that one that whacked him was actually from his own neighborhood. They knew each other. They weren't the best of friends. There was a personal thing. I think it was from the neighborhood. But that right there, hitting him from behind when he was butt naked. So that happened. Door opened. The dude ran upstairs. Got to get rid of the knife. The jailhouse lawyer was telling him, come back in here and finish it. That didn't happen. Anyways, so when he was taken out of the pod in cuffs and the cops sat him down in the rotunda, allegedly waiting for medical, the jailhouse lawyer was smart enough to know all the litigation that he had filed against the CDC. The best thing for them would be that this guy bleed out in the rotunda and die right there on the spot, so they don't have to worry about litigation from that man anymore. See, the guards don't have an obligation. Their obligation was to quell the disturbance. Medical personnel has the obligation to try to keep him alive. And this individual knew, if I sit here, I'm going to die. I'm going to bleed out and die. If I get to medical, I have a chance. And so he told him, hey, I'm walking. And he walked in there, and as a result, he was able to survive. He was released from prison, I want to say before me. I can't remember. But this man right here, this jailhouse attorney, he doesn't have any need or desire to be in front of a camera. He's living his life. I'm sure he's very successful. He was so good at law. I'm sure he's probably a paralegal or advocate somewhere, somehow making good money. And I'm glad of it. You know what I mean? I'm glad for it. And whoever hired him, great job. Now, I am trying to reach out to him. If you guys go to my video that I did on the hunger strikes, you will see the pinned comment is actually him. The one that I'm speaking about, the jailhouse lawyer. And I'm trying to set up an interview with him. And if I have to blur his face, I'll blur his face, whatever makes him comfortable. But I think it's important that, you know, it's a great thing that PBS did that and showed that people in prison are able to do nonviolent protests. There's always going to be violence in prison. Prison is its own world. It's its own society, right? And just like we have violence out here and we have corrections and we have enforcement of laws, they do too. But theirs is quicker, it's swifter, and it's brutal. But it is their form of policing, of enforcing the rules of their governments. All that stuff is in play in there, just like it is out here. Just an extremely smaller scale, right? But there was a time before where this individual had that mindset and knew if we do this nonviolent protest, we will get the attention of the world. But people weren't ready. I don't know how the mentality evolved. I don't know how people were able to come to the conclusion, unfortunately, 10 years after the jailhouse lawyer was trying to push that same exact thing. Imagine that. Imagine if in 2000, we would have continued that hunger strike. They would have won just like they did 10 years later. They would have won. They would have gotten, and it was actually about 15 years later, but there was about 10 years of work prior, right? I can't give you all the dates and all the cases and all that, but this jailhouse lawyer can. And I think it's a very important part of that movement. It is the actual seedling. It is the thing. I know for a fact that those that participated in the subsequent hunger strikes that got everyone out, those were the same men that participated in the first one. And I'm sure it planted a seed in the minds of those men that run the California Department of Corrections. It ain't the CDC that runs it. They run programs. But what's going to happen within those walls, those men that control that, there were some that seed kept growing. And they had to maneuver. And they had to figure out how do I convince this guy that this is a good idea, that it was a good idea in the first place, and that it still is. So wouldn't it be important? Wouldn't it be a great idea to talk to the person who planted the original seed, who became a martyr in a sense for that movement? You know, it's a trip, and I'm probably going to do another video today on this, about how out here people use certain words so frivolously. And if they only knew, it's a trip, man. But, you know, that man, that jailhouse lawyer, there are many cases against the California Department of Corrections that have his name. He did that. And a lot of people are grateful for it. So I just wanted to do this video, and I want you guys, if you are interested, and it doesn't even have to be me. PBS can contact this man. I don't need the shine. I don't need none of that. I just want this man's story. his sacrifices, his ideas to be known. I want it to be a part of the story that's told on how this huge change came about. You know, so like I said, it doesn't have to be me. It could be a bigger platform. It could be PBS. It could be Joe Rogan. But the story needs to be told. And I want you guys that are interested in having that story told and in hearing that original story, I want you to get in the comment section and encourage that man. Let him know that is a very important part of history. That's my video for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Excuse me. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.